Listen, ladies, let me tell you something real. You can tell a man's heart by how he acts when y'all alone, not when he's buying gifts, not when he's showing off on Instagram, but when you're together in that quiet space, when all the masks are off. Now, if a man truly can't live without you, you're going to see it in how he touches you, how he holds you, and how he looks at you. I ain't just talking about romance. I'm talking about emotional connection. When a man really loves you, intimacy ain't just physical, it's spiritual. If that man lies beside you and takes his time, not rushing, not distracted, not thinking about something else, that man is invested. Because men don't slow down for women. They don't value. When he's got his arm around you, when he's pulling you close after everything's said and done, that's a man saying, I'm home. But let me tell you something else. It's not just about what he does in bed. It's about what happens after. Does he roll over and fall asleep, or does he pull you closer? Does he ask if you're okay? Does he smile like he's grateful you're next to him? Because that's the sign of a man who can't live without you, the one who feels peace in your presence. When a man truly connects with you, it's not about the physical moment, it's about the emotional bond that runs deeper than words. See, emotional connection is the real heart of love. It's that invisible thread that ties two souls together beyond what eyes can see or hands can touch. When a man is emotionally connected to you, he's not just with you because of attraction or comfort. He's with you because you make him feel something he can't get anywhere else. You become his peace, his calm in a world full of noise, and that's something rare. You'll notice this connection in the little things, the way he listens, not just to reply, but to truly understand, the way his eyes soften when you talk about your dreams, your pain, your fears. That's not lust, that's emotional presence. When a man has an emotional connection with you, he remembers the smallest details about you, the things you thought no one noticed. He'll remember how you like your coffee, the songs you play when you're sad, or the way you curl your hair when you're nervous. It's not about memorizing, it's about caring. See, emotional connection is built through honesty, vulnerability, and respect. When he feels safe enough to open up to you, to talk about his struggles, his insecurities, or his failures, that's when you know he trusts you. And trust, that's the backbone of love. Most men are taught to hide their emotions, to be tough, to never show weakness. But when a man finds a woman he can be himself with, no pretending, no performing, that's when love becomes real. That's when he starts realizing, I can't live without her. A man who's emotionally connected doesn't just want your body. He wants your mind, your laughter, your energy. He wants to know how your day went, what made you smile, what broke your heart. When you're apart, he doesn't just miss the moments. He misses your presence, your voice, your spirit. That's when he starts to see you as part of him. Not because he owns you, but because he values what you bring into his life. Sometimes emotional connection shows in silence. When you're sitting together and don't need to say a word, no awkwardness, no pressure, just comfort, that's powerful. That's love without needing validation. When he looks at you and smiles for no reason, that's his soul recognizing something familiar. Because emotional connection is not about constant excitement, it's about deep peace. It's when he feels like himself with you, and that feeling becomes his home. And understand this, emotional connection doesn't fade with time, it grows stronger. The more life throws challenges your way, the more it tests that bond. When he chooses to stay, to fight for the relationship, to work through misunderstandings instead of walking away, that's love rooted in emotion. Because lust makes people chase pleasure, but emotional connection makes them stay for peace. A man can find beauty anywhere, but emotional connection, that's something he'll search for his whole life. And when he finally finds it, he'll hold on to it because it gives his life meaning. It makes him better, calmer, more focused, more alive. That's why when you see a man who listens, who shows up, who stays gentle even in hard times, you're not just looking at someone who loves you, you're looking at someone who needs you in a way that goes beyond words. So when a man connects with you emotionally, you become more than his partner. You become his peace, his inspiration, and his safe place. He'll protect that bond because deep down, he knows he can't live without the kind of love that reaches his soul. Presence says everything a man can't always put into words. When a man is truly present with you, it shows through his focus, his eyes, his attention. You can feel it when he's with you. He's really there, not halfway thinking about his phone, not distracted by the noise of the world, but completely locked into the moment you share. That kind of presence is rare because most people's minds are everywhere except where they are. But when a man values you, he's not just next to you. He's emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with you. You can tell by how he listens, how he looks at you, and how he reacts when you speak. It's not about big words or fancy gestures. It's about the energy he gives when he's with you. When a man is focused on you, he's showing that you're a priority. It's not about control or obsession. It's about genuine care. He's tuned into you because you matter. He notices your expressions, your mood, even your silence. When he can tell something's off just by the tone of your voice or the way you breathe, that's not luck. That's That's awareness born out of love. That presence means he's paying attention, not because he has to, but because he wants to. You become his world in that moment, and he doesn't want to miss a single part of it. You see, when a man's heart is truly invested, he doesn't get distracted when you talk. He doesn't rush the conversation or cut you off to talk about himself. Instead, he listens, not with impatience, but with curiosity. He wants to understand what you feel, not just what you say. And that's a powerful kind of intimacy, one that makes you feel seen, not just heard. Presence in its purest form is love in action, because it takes effort to stop the world around you and give someone your full attention. If a man is with you but constantly looking around, checking his phone or zoning out, that's a sign his heart's somewhere else. But when he's present, when he puts his world on pause just to be in your moment, it means you hold space in his life that nothing else can replace. He might not always say, "I love you" in words, but he'll say it through his actions. The way he leans in when you talk, the way he remembers the things you told him days ago, the way he makes you feel like the only person in the room, that's love speaking silently. Presence also shows in small gestures. When he sits beside you and holds your hand without needing to fill the silence, or when he looks at you like he's memorizing your face, that's not something you can fake. That's a man whose soul is at peace just being near you. He doesn't have to perform, doesn't have to impress. He's just there fully. And when a man can be present like that, it means he's comfortable, open and real with you. You'll know his presence is genuine when it feels calm, not forced. You don't feel like you're fighting for attention. You don't have to beg for time. He wants to be there. Because men stay where they feel valued. They give their presence to people who make them feel understood and accepted. That's why when he's invested, he'll show it in his energy. Even when he's tired or busy, he'll make time to connect with you. Because when a man's heart is all in, his mind follows. Presence is not just physical, it's emotional alignment. When he's with you and everything feels still, when you feel seen, loved, and safe, that's the power of real presence. That's when you know he's not just passing time, he's building something with you. Peace is the deepest proof of love, and it's something a man can't fake. When a man truly loves you, you'll notice that being around you makes him calmer, softer, and more grounded. You bring him a kind of peace that the world can't give. Out there, he might be tough, stressed, and always fighting his battles, but with you, he can breathe. He doesn't have to pretend, he doesn't have to perform, and he doesn't have to prove anything. You become the one place where he feels safe being himself. That peace becomes his addiction, the quiet reassurance that he's loved for who he is, not what he does. You'll know a man feels peace with you when his energy shifts the moment he's near you. The tone of his voice changes, his guard drops, and his presence softens. He doesn't need to talk much because your energy says everything. He might just sit next to you, not saying a word, and still feel complete. That's the kind of connection that makes a man stay, the kind that soothes his spirit instead of draining it. Peace is what makes him want to come home to you, not just physically, but emotionally. You stop being part of his chaos and become his calm. In this world, men carry a lot of silent weight. They don't always talk about it, but they feel pressure every single day. Pressure to provide, to perform, to hold it all together. Most of the time, they can't show weakness, even when they're breaking inside. But when a man finds a woman who gives him peace, he finally feels like he doesn't have to carry that weight alone. He can exhale, he can laugh, he can be vulnerable. That's why peace is more powerful than passion. Passion fades, peace stays. It's what turns a relationship into a home. A peaceful woman doesn't mean a woman who never speaks up. It means a woman whose energy is steady, whose love is consistent, and whose presence feels safe. She doesn't add drama, she brings clarity. When he's with her, he's not confused about where he stands. She's the one who understands without judgment, listens without rushing, and speaks truth without tearing him down. That's why a man who finds peace with you doesn't want to lose it, because peace is rare, and once he's felt it, everything else feels loud and empty. You'll know you bring him peace by how often he returns to you, not just physically, but emotionally. What happens after intimacy reveals more truth than anything that comes before it. A man can say all the right words, make all the right moves, and show all the charm in the world, but what he does after those quiet, vulnerable moments is what truly exposes how he feels about you. When the lights fade, when the rush is gone, and it's just the two of you in silence, that's when his real self appears. If he turns toward you, pulls you close, and makes you feel safe, that's a man who respects and cherishes you. But if he distances himself, becomes distracted, or emotionally cold, that says everything about where his heart truly is. Love isn't proven in the fire of passion, it's proven in the calm that follows. When a man genuinely cares, he doesn't rush away once the moment is over. He takes his time. He might whisper something soft, stroke your hair, or simply rest his hand on you as if saying, "I'm still here." It's those small gestures that carry the deepest meaning. When he stays connected, even in the stillness, that's when you know he's not just chasing a feeling, he's protecting a bond. A man who can't live without you will make sure you feel seen, safe, and appreciated every single time. His actions afterward speak louder than his words. Does he talk to you, laugh with you, or ask how you feel? Does he show concern for your comfort, or simply drift away into his own world? The answers are never in what he says before. They're always in how he behaves after. Because for a man, intimacy is more than a physical act. When his heart is involved, it becomes a form of emotional closeness, a reflection of trust.
If he respects that moment and treats it with care, it means he values the connection you share on a much deeper level. When a man truly loves a woman, he doesn't disappear when the moment ends. He becomes softer. He wants to hold on to the warmth, to the energy between you. He might not be saying "I love you" out loud, but his actions whisper it in a language only your heart can hear. The way he looks at you after, the way he smiles without reason, that's love showing itself in silence. That's a man feeling gratitude, knowing that what he has with you isn't something he can easily find again. A man who truly values you won't treat intimacy like an escape. He'll treat it like a connection. He understands that it's not about control or satisfaction, it's about closeness and trust. He'll make sure you feel emotionally secure before and after, because he knows that real intimacy is about giving, not just taking. And when he's finished, he won't leave you in emotional emptiness. He'll bring you closer, because that's where he feels complete. The truth is, men don't stay for passion, they stay for peace, comfort, and emotional safety. And what happens after intimacy reveals all three. When a man rolls over and goes to sleep without a word, he's detached. But when he stays up, holds you close, or simply smiles as he drifts off beside you, that's connection. That's a man silently saying, "This is where I belong." Those moments afterward build emotional trust and make the bond stronger every time. So if he reaches for you after everything, if he can't help but keep you near, if his energy feels softer instead of distant, that's when you know. Because love isn't about what happens at the peak of passion, it's about what lingers in the quiet. And when he chooses to stay in that quiet with you, again and again, that's a man who can't live without you. Affection is one of the purest languages of love. It doesn't always need words, and it doesn't have to be loud or grand. It's often shown in the smallest gestures. The way he holds your hand, the way he brushes your hair from your face, the way he looks at you when you're not even talking. When a man is truly in love, his affection becomes his way of speaking. He might not always say, "I love you," but you'll feel it in every touch, every glance, every little act of care that comes so naturally to him. That's because affection is an instinct for a man who's emotionally connected. He doesn't have to think about it. His heart just leads him to express what words can't capture. You can tell when a man's affection is real because it feels effortless. He doesn't show it to impress you. He shows it because being near you brings him peace. When he wraps his arm around you in public, when he places his hand on your back as you walk together, it's not about control, it's protection, pride and tenderness all in one. He's saying without words, "You're mine and I've got you." That kind of affection doesn't fade when times get hard. Even in silence or disagreement, his body language still says he cares. He'll reach out, he'll find a way to bridge the distance, because for him affection isn't just habit, it's connection. A man who truly loves you will express affection in ways that match your energy. He'll learn your love language even if it's different from his. Maybe you like words, or maybe you prefer touch or quality time. He'll pay attention, because what matters to you starts to matter to him. If you're tired, he'll bring you comfort. If you're anxious, he'll offer calm. If you're hurting, he'll offer presence. That's affection. Not the shallow kind that comes and goes with excitement, but the kind that stays, that grows, that nurtures. It's love wrapped in gentleness. Real affection also shows in the way he pays attention to your emotions. When you talk, he doesn't just hear your words, he feels your tone. He notices when you're distant, when you're holding back, when you're overwhelmed. He might not always have the right words to fix it, but he'll try to show up for you in his own way. A hug, a kiss on the forehead, a warm touch that says "I see you." Because to him, affection is reassurance. It's his way of letting you know you're safe, valued, and loved, without having to explain it. There's also a kind of affection that happens in the smallest daily moments, the things most people overlook. The way he texts to check if you ate, the way he remembers to lock the door when you forget, or the way he waits for you to get inside safely before driving away. These moments might seem small, but they're sacred. They're love in motion, steady and unspoken. A man doesn't do those things for everyone. He does them for the woman who holds his heart. And affection isn't just physical, it's emotional sensitivity. When a man loves you deeply, he becomes softer with you. The same man who's tough with the world becomes gentle when he's near you. He listens differently, touches differently, and even breathes differently. Because affection transforms him, it takes his strength and wraps it in tenderness. You make him want to be better, not because you demand it, but because love moves him to show it. When he touches you, it's not just a gesture, it's a message. It says, "I'm here, I care, and I'm not going anywhere." That's the kind of affection that lasts through time, that doesn't fade when the excitement wears off. It's the kind that grows with understanding, forgiveness, and commitment. A man who truly loves you uses affection as a bridge, one that keeps you close, even when words fall short. That's how you'll know you've become more than a part of his life. You've become a part of his soul. When a man feels that you are his safe space, everything about him changes. The way he talks, the way he relaxes, even the way he breathes around you becomes different. He's no longer guarded or trying to impress. He's real, open, and calm. In a world where he has to be strong all the time, you become the one person who allows him to be human. That's what it means to be his peace, his safety, his comfort. A man who feels safe with you doesn't wear a mask. He shows his true self, the confident parts, the broken parts, and the parts he hides from everyone else. He knows that with you he won't be judged or rejected, but understood. That's the kind of connection that doesn't just touch the heart, it reaches the soul. Most men live in environments where they can't show weakness.
Society teaches them to be tough, to never cry, to never say they're scared or tired. They spend their lives trying to protect, provide, and survive. But when a man finds a woman who makes him feel emotionally safe, it's like he finally finds air after being underwater. He can breathe again. He doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't have to pretend to have all the answers. He can simply exist. And that's one of the most powerful forms of love. Because love isn't just about passion or excitement. It's about peace. It's about knowing that when everything feels heavy, he can turn to you and not be met with criticism, but with care. You'll notice a man feels safe with you when he begins to open up. He starts talking about things he's never told anyone. His fears, his failures, his regrets, his dreams. He may not say it directly, but that openness is his way of saying, I trust you with my heart. When a man gives you that kind of vulnerability, it's not weakness, it's one of the highest forms of love, because men don't share that side with just anyone. They share it only when they feel secure enough to let their guard down. That's when you know he's not just with you, he's connected to you on a deeper level. Being his safe space doesn't mean you have to fix all his problems. It means you listen, you understand, and you give him room to express himself without fear. Sometimes your silence speaks more than words ever could. When you listen without interrupting, when you comfort without judging, you make him feel that his emotions matter. And when a man feels emotionally safe, he becomes loyal, attentive, and deeply committed. Because peace is addictive, and once he finds it in you, he'll never want to lose it. He'll also start showing his softer side, the part that laughs freely, teases playfully, and shows affection without hesitation. He'll become more expressive, more gentle, and more open with love. That's the beauty of emotional safety. It doesn't just make him stay, it makes him grow. You'll see him become a better communicator, a better partner, a better man, not because you demanded it, but because you inspired it. When a man can rest his soul next to you, when he can share his silence without awkwardness, when he can hold you without needing to say anything, that's when you've become his peace. But that's when he's no longer looking for something better, because he's found what he's been searching for. You're no longer just someone he loves, you're someone he needs. You're home, and a man who finds home in you will protect that bond with everything he has, because he knows he can find beauty anywhere. But the kind of peace you bring, that's once in a lifetime.